When it comes to beautiful 3D models, different studios and artists focus on different things. Special traits that make their style distinct and easily recognizable. Different design priorities means different formulas for success. Take for example Hoyoverse's Zenless Zone Zero with its playful physics, lively faces, and skillfully exaggerated battle animations, which all work together towards creating expressive characters whose appeal is driven by motion. Kuro Games Wuthering Waves, on the other hand, from what I can see, focuses on enhanced character topology, complete with beautiful face shapes, attention to bones and muscles, and of course, let's not forget the feet tails. And none of that goes to any waste with amazing rendering and close-up shots, giving us arguably the most beautiful character modeling in the genre. Of course, those are just one strength, not their full capability. Even deeper than those broad characteristics are finely tailored details that brand the character and display mastery. Now, if you create characters or art yourself, whatever medium it may be, your end results may leave much to be desired. It's like, okay, I created something, but I want it to be better. As someone who studies and heavily references my favorite games models, my creations can sometimes feel like a watered down combination of other people's work rather than something truly original. It needs specialization in order to set it apart. Modeling and artistic design are different things, and we've kind of been neglecting the latter. Today I'll go through some specific things to improve that might give you some ideas as well, as we build up our skills that could eventually lead to our very own formula to take our models to the next level. Recently I added this to my setup. A display drawing tablet, the Artist Pro 24 from XPPen. This will help out a lot with all of the potential advancements that I have in mind. For example, I've been modeling with almost purely mouse and keyboard, whether I'm sculpting, box modeling, or texturing, which is doable but not exactly ideal. A lot of things, especially textures, can look okay from afar, but when zoomed in you can see the rough lines and lack of detail created by drawing with a mouse and having limited movement. With the drawing tablet we can unlock the limits placed on our accuracy and level of detail. So I'm going to try redoing this iris texture but making it more crisp. This was a lot more efficient than what I do with my mouse and keyboard where I draw and then erase after for the sharp edges. And wow, no gaps on my paint bucket tool. I'm able to see the lines clearly thanks to the great resolution on my Pro 24, allowing me to quickly recreate all the iris shapes so that I can fill them in with the same colors as before. So now it's already recreated with sharper lines and details, and now we can even add more. I would have already called it a day here if I still was only using a mouse. So now for the first time we can try some iris details that I've seen on more high-res textures, such as some radial lines and some lines that go around the eye to give it that kind of spherical fisheye reflection illusion. Can't wait to give the rest of my texturing an overhaul, and I'd imagine making adjustments in sculpt mode will be a lot easier too. Newer generation display tablets feel really good, by the way. The resolution and refresh rate on this tablet are so good that it can essentially be a main monitor. That's how I've got it set up on my dedicated Blender rig, as I've always wanted the QOL of never having to set it up and then put it away every time that you use it. And don't let it distract you from your art, but it's also good enough to game on as well, comfortably. On their Prime Day sales, which is from when this video comes out up until June 26, their big products on US and Canada Amazon will see big price drops, with discounts even going up to $350 on specific products. So be sure to check that out if you're on the market for a tablet. Anyways, we'll continue to develop our texture rendering skills and expand it to other parts of the character. It's one potential thing we can combine with other elements later. I like the idea of clustering detail into certain spots, having them concentrated rather than all throughout the character. I notice a lot of studios and artists have some success with this concept. Recently I've been looking into individual artists rather than just 3D anime game models. WLOP is a well-known artist who's great at what we just mentioned. A lot of his drawn works feature large and broad brushstrokes for the character and outfit, but there are tiny sections of compressed detail. The lashes, freckles, and perhaps the most detailed of all are the metals and jewelry. The quiet areas of the hair and skin work well with the busy sections of the jewelry with high detail, because they draw your attention to important features of the piece and also kind of has this camera focus effect. And you might be wondering, this is a 3D channel, why are we looking at paintings? The thing about WLOP is that he's both a 2D and a 3D artist who somehow seamlessly adapted his style and utilizes Blender in his workflow. He's been experimenting with combined 2D, 3D workflows for a while now. He's created 3D model rigs of his characters whose hairs mimic his brushstrokes. So not only can he animate his characters, but he can also create these in-between pieces that are 3D model renders but look like full illustrations with just a few well-placed brushstrokes. Being proficient in both digital painting and 3D modeling is an extremely lofty goal, but imagine all of the advantages you would have if you worked on both. You would easily be able to work on your forms and perspectives by rotating your models and sketching them out. And on the flip side, creating 2D paintings allow you to explore color theory, composition, and lighting, which are afterthoughts for some 3D modelers because those things can be heavily automated. But alas, this guy's work is a whole topic for another day, another video. Don't worry though, this won't be the last time we dive into their work. In the same sense that they mastered metallic details such that it could be the centerpiece of a design, let's also pick one outfit item that we can do something similar with, and start our journey of mastering. I know, let's do shoes. Why specifically shoes? Don't worry about it. Footwear is an extremely broad field, perfect for exploring all the different categories of shoes and various small details that go with them. Just like the iris is something that we can pour a lot of detail and personal design into. So back to you, unnamed blonde OC. Let's give your shoes an overhaul and try a bunch of different things to increase our shoe making abilities. First, let's establish different materials for the counter, the insole, outsole, and the straps. Add some lines for the different strap sections, and then add a normal layer for the stitches. Another process that gets a hell of a lot faster with our new upgrade. Let's also Ctrl L select all of these toenails with delimit on seam so that we can easily toggle on the paint mask and give her some polish on the tips of her toenails. Yes, and just thinking about it, this could be another area of intricate design that we could worry about down the road, but just for now, let's keep it fairly simple. Let's sketch out a little branding piece for this shoe. Whenever I can't think of a new design, I just try to sneak my channel logo into there with a moon shape. And selecting and moving points around is pretty intuitive with a pen. Now let's give this thing a metal material and simply extrude it. It didn't look good on the back of the shoe, so I'm trying to place it here on the front. And I think that's a little better. And I know we're supposed to be focusing on the shoe, but I had to try the whole Wuthering Waves feet veins thing. So just draw them in with a cool color and turn down opacity. And let's experiment with some other stuff. And honestly, I don't like how this next part looks too much, but I'm thinking down the line when I finally make a game with my characters, there could be like orb slots in the shoes, giving different stats and skills, kind of like a materia system, and then these are like the holder thingies, and there will be little orbs in them that have different stats and skills, and then when you are in the equip menu, you'll get a close-up of the feet, or the shoes, and it will be like a visual kind of thing. Now, this is just one shoe design. Eventually, you will have to look into other shoe categories for different characters, like sneakers, and low height shoes, like not all high heels for once. Let's deviate a little from the, everyone wears high heels kind of thing. But not today. Today we're doing high heels. Alright, so here's day one of me and my journey to become a feet master. A shoe master. It still looks pretty standard. Maybe I should break down some Infinity Nikki shoe designs. I heard they got some really complex ones. But let's leave it at that for now. The 2 a.m. recipe is still up in the air. Any ideas of things that you're trying to specialize for your designs that you're willing to share, feel free to bless the comment section down below. As for your boy, the quest to research 3D anime girls continues, and there is a lot more content on the way, so stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one. Have yourselves a good night.